And this is my final thought on Wing Chun Chi Sau. The JKD people have not spent enough time understanding the foundation of Chi Sau, and they just go, well, we're just going to progress and we're just going to, turn it into this drill and whatever. And the Wing Chun people have not discovered the foundation of how Chi Sau applies to fighting, so they keep it at Chi Sau. Do you see the problem we're having here? All right, so either you took a Wing Chun class and you're frustrated because you're not learning Chi Sau, or you got the Chi Sau and you're like, what is this garbage for? And you saw an Ip Man movie and you're like, oh my God, I want to take on 10 black belts at a time, but I know this is Kung Fu. And it's really not really movie. This is movie, right? It's not real life. And you're like, man, but why are these Wing Chun guys constantly doing this patty cake garbage that I see online all the time? What is the point of this? I want to talk about Chi Sau today. I want to talk about the number one most misunderstood and most abused training drill of all martial arts combatives out there, but also the number one most effective for combat development skill sets when it comes down to fighting. So let's talk about Wing Chun Chi Sau today. All right, so what's Chi Sau? Chi Sau is nothing more, and this is what I want you to start keeping in mind, especially if you are looking to get into Wing Chun, or if you think Wing Chun is a joke and you're like, oh, this is whatever, or if you've done JKD and you've had like 2 weeks of Chi Sau and you're like, okay, I'm going to evolve this into a different drill. I'm going to tell you flat out, my background coming from a wrestler going into Wing Chun was the right way to go, because I understood the Chi Sau distance and space and how it affected the rest of the body. I've been saying this for years. If you take somebody and start them in a Kung Fu or a boxing or a striking art, and Wing Chun included in that, and then you stick them into something like BJJ, judo, or grappling, they're like, oh my God, why wasn't I doing this sooner? I was blessed. I went into grappling first, spent my young adulthoods, 12 until got into college to do wrestling. Loved wrestling, and it's still, today I watch wrestling probably more than anything else. It's still the greatest skill I think out there for combatives. But my body was already used to close proximity when it came down to fighting. So Wing Chun made sense. I talk about it a lot. When I met my first Sifu, Danny Halligan, what sold me on Wing Chun is he stuffed every single one of my takedowns, and I couldn't understand why. Boxers couldn't, Taekwondo guys couldn't, distance fighters couldn't. BJJ wasn't a thing when I first really started training, especially out here in my area in Chicago. And what it was Danny knew the bridge between wrestling and Wing Chun because he had that in his household. So immediately I went, this is the art for me. But when you guys start looking at Chi Sau and you all want to rush to it, I know it's so fancy, right? I know it's like you look at guys like Grandmaster Sam Kwok here and Grandmaster Ip Ching, who's the second youngest son of Ip Man. I understand. You want to do the wooden dummy, you want to do Chi Sau, and Wing Chun takes so long to get to those points because of development of skill set. And I always wondered, why is it like people will respect people who have done 10 years worth of BJJ to get that black belt, but you do like 6 months of worth of Wing Chun and you go, oh, it's garbage, it's not going to fight anywhere, it's just not going to work anywhere. I want you to stick to it. This is my passion when it comes down to truly advocating for Wing Chun. Don't let what you see online, right, the Chi Sau aspect, and you don't understand what they're doing here, don't let this go, no, there's no point in this. I don't understand why we're doing Wing Chun or what this Chi Sau drill is. I want to plant the seed. In this video, I want to plant the seed for you either getting involved in Wing Chun in the first place or sticking through your training if your Sifu doesn't have you at that stage yet where you're doing Chi Sau. But when you get to Chi Sau, I want you to know why you're doing it. Now, when the internet first came out and YouTube first came out, this was the video that rooted me into staying into Wing Chun. I already been doing it for many years. I was not at Chi Sau level yet. My Sifus did not have me at that game. And I was like, this is amazing. This is from Windy City Wing Chun, Ed and Ken. They're both masters in Wing Chun. And when I saw this video for the first time, I was like, this is amazing. Now, I didn't understand anything about it, but what I saw was this flow of beauty and continuity and just completely like, there was nothing that Ken, because you can see Ken's firing the shots on the right-hand side. There was nothing that Ken could do that Ed just couldn't pick off. Why? Why was that? And then that took me back to the days of thinking, well, why could my Sifu Danny Halligan stuff me on every single takedown that I went to shoot in? It's because of what Wing Chun's Chi Sau teaches everyone. Now, this is a demo, right? This is a demo, and I want to show you the different types of Chi Sau out there. And again, all I want you to do is, as you think going forward, go, all right, why am I doing this Chi Sau? That's a question you have to ask yourself as you progress forward in your training. Are you doing Chi Sau to develop yourself as a fighter? Or are you doing Chi Sau to develop yourself as a Chi Sau player? That's it, right? I want you to think about that for a second. If you did BJJ, are you doing it to defend yourself and become an MMA fighter? Or are you doing it because you like the role and you want to train a couple times a week because it's phenomenal exercise? The same thing applies with Chi Sau. And I just wish that the martial arts community would give a little bit more credit to those who choose to stay in Wing Chun longer and truly explore the fighting game of Chi Sau and not just as it is a patty cake, because we've had far too many people screw it up to begin with. This was the second video I saw on Chi Sau that sold me, and it made more sense than anything else. This is Sifu Alan Orr on the right. This is probably one of the best demonstrations of Chi Sau online for fighting combative purposes, right? I'm going to show you a couple others today. But it's like, what are they doing? They're doing the gotcha game, this and that. I'm going to let another video speak for itself, which I came across today for the first time, which was just phenomenal. But again, I want to plant these seeds. If you've ever seen Wing Chun and go, why are they doing this stuff? It's for combatives, right? A couple different things you're learning when you're actually learning Chi Sau. You're learning sensitivity, which a lot of people want to talk about. You're learning body position. You're learning reflexes. You're learning proximity. You're learning angles. If you've ever seen any of my videos, a lot of things that I talk about are how the hips will be in opposite directions of the opposite shoulder or opposite elbow. I've talked about that several times. But in these videos, like what Sifu Alan Orr is doing, he's actually demonstrating Chi Sau more in the game of the street, right? Look at this, some of this stuff, like the grabbing game, and I'm going to show you a prime example of what the Wing Chun community does not want, and why people like Alan Orr have always been ahead of the curve and showing what Chi Sau truly is for. Look at this, where they're grabbing here. This is where Chi Sau lives. If anybody's ever been in a bar fight, you know what happens, right? A guy will grab your wrist because they don't want the hands to come out. Well, how do you deal with that? Chi Sau has always taught a brilliant, how do I deal with the grabbing and the grappling? I've argued this for decades. 100% Wing Chun has grappling and anti-grappling in it. It's in Chi Sau. All you have to do is get to a level of where you understand it. This is beautiful Chi Sau by Sifu Alan Orr. This is one of the oldest video. This is the oldest video on his YouTube channel. This video, when I first saw it, I went, man, this is what a fight is, because I came from a wrestling background. I came from a bar industry background, 4 a.m. bar. We were fighting all the time. I was a cop. I was like, man, we're taking people into custody all the time, going hands on. This is the purpose of Chi Sau and putting your Wing Chun together. So remember, I'm just planting seeds for you today in this video to have you say, all right, is Wing Chun bullshit? Why are these guys doing Chi Sau? And what do I want to get out of my Chi Sau training? Just keep that in mind as we move forward. All right, so we're going to talk about why Wing Chun produces some of the worst fighters in the world out there, and that's for one reason, and this video talks about it. In this video, it's a short 45-second clip video. I'm going to have you listen for something, and it is the one thing that we all, myself included, for a very long time, used to yell when it came down to watching others do Chi Sau. In the yellow shirt is Sean Obasi, student of Jose Grados, who is a phenomenal Wing Chun master out on New York, I believe, underneath Augustine Fong, as well as Ed and Ken. And then on the left-hand side is Sifu Randy Williams. No one did more to promote Randy Williams, Wing Chun, than Randy Williams did in the 80s. The guy was phenomenal. But I want you to watch this. And if you do Wing Chun, you know exactly what I talk about when I bring this up. And then we're going to talk about why this produces the worst fighters in the history of martial arts when it comes down to Wing Chun.
Soft. Let's go.
Did you catch that? The infamous soft. Randy and Sean started going at it a little bit too rough. Sean's a fighter. Sean's an MMA fighter. He went in and he used Wing Chun to just dominate in the MMA circuit he went into. And then when it starts to get a little bit too rough, you have somebody yelling soft. Why? I've always asked that. Because if you look at some other people out there, more specifically, Eamon Bostepe's lineage, and it's always going to be under the Keith Kernspet guys, right? Eamon Bostepe, Norbert Mayday. I did a whole list of these guys on another video. Those guys went into something called Latsao, Latsao, which was the bridge between no space between them, Chi Sau, into an actual combatives. I want to play a video that is so brilliant by Eamon Bostepe, even today, that proves why Wing Chun Chi Sau is anti-grappling and it's for combat. And I want you to take a look at this. All right, this is Sifu Eamon Bostepe, one of the greatest out there, right? Great fighter, great Wing Chun representative, phenomenal. And in this small training clip, this is why you practice Chi Sau. Now, remember, I said this before. What's the purpose of you doing Chi Sau for, right? Is it you want to be a good Chi Sau player? You want to be like Master Sam Kwok and Master Ip Ching, and you want to do the roll and it's great? Are you doing Wing Chun so that you could have a perfect Bong Sao and Tan Sao and Pak Sao and you could look phenomenal? Or do you want to learn how to fight? Me, it's fighting. It's always been fighting. Watch this. Just watch this. This is in the first few seconds of this. This is the point of Chi Sau. Take a look at this exchange with one of the students that has the honor of working with Eamon Bostepe. If you're doing Wing Chun, you could feel this, right? You can absolutely feel this. You've got a position where you're going to end up in a grab. Bar fights are going to end up here, grabbing the lapel, the collar. If you're BJJ, you do this, you're going to grab. How do you deal with somebody when they're grabbing? Well, Wing Chun, we don't grab, we don't do this, we don't do that. This is the point. This phenomenal stuff. Yeah, you can get your strikes in, but remember, we all keep talking about it. How does Wing Chun deal with a smaller person who can overcome a larger person? Look at the size difference here. Look at the size. If Eamon Bostepe gets his paw in your throat, I would like to say, if you're this guy's size and you don't know how to fight, you're done. But look at what we have. We're talking about true muscling in fighting. One of the biggest problems that we've developed in the Wing Chun community is thinking that what Chi Sau does is Chi Sau teaches you how to fight with no energy whatsoever. And guys like Sifu Klaus Brand completely destroyed that. And I've always wondered, you can't help it when you're fighting. You get an adrenaline dump. If you're ever getting in a fight, my legs start shaking. Like the blood flows all the way to my core, and then I'll get that, like the legs start shaking because I'm ready to friggin' go, man. It's on. And I get blind mad and I get, blinders on. It's just, you get that tunnel vision. And it's like, dude, you tense up. You tense up. And for all of us in Wing Chun who thought we were going to live some poetic, stoic life of zenfulness, it doesn't happen that way. And I want you to think about something else for a second. If you've been in Wing Chun and you're not progressing in your fighting, this could be why. Now, this was the day that my Wing Chun changed forever. And believe it or not, I owe it to Sam Kwok on this one. When I was at this position, I was underneath Sifu Phil Nearing. Again, I've got a love-hate relationship with Phil. I think he taught me so much in my Wing Chun journey. Without him, the energetics, I can't speak highly enough about him. But he kicked me out of class after this day. The seminar was with Sam Kwok came in, and if you look at this, if you're doing Wing Chun, you should be able to answer one question: what's wrong with this picture? And if you can't see, because what we were taught in this was that I was too damn far away from my elbow and my core, right? Sam was watching, and afterwards, the gentleman on the left and we stayed by to Chi Sau when we went to a lunch break. Sam stood by. He spent about 20 or 30 minutes with us, kind of refining our Chi Sau, and all he did was he had the adjustment, right? The fist and a half length away from my body, put the position. He had me move in closer, tuck my chin down, and the world opened up with Chi Sau. I couldn't believe it. I was able to read so much based off of position, sensitivity, technique, all of it. Everything that Dan was doing, I was able to pick up more because I was closer in and my body was able to feel it better. The way that Phil taught, and I can't fault him for this. Phil, up until this point, had fallen in love with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he became extremely close with Carlson Gracie, right? And Phil fell in love with the concept of to be in a position of defense first and then attack. You can't do it that way in Chi Sau, because Wing Chun's core concept is by attacking, you are defending. So I had learned all of this, be defensive first. All these taller guys were just walking all over me. I was getting my ass kicked in class in Chi Sau all the time, feeling very discouraged. And when I chased them, all they would have to do is back up. So if you're in a Wing Chun class and the senior students or the Sifu who is teaching you, if they're constantly backing up and swallowing your energy, you're never going to improve. You're never going to improve because it's the bull and the matador. They are robbing you from improvement. When I learned, damn, stand your ground. How do you handle this energy? Because if you get backed into a wall with somebody who's going to put you into it, like Eamon Bostepi grabbing that throat, how are you dealing with this? My Chi Sau game changed like crazy. I went to class aggressively the next day or when we had class next. And after that, I got an email from Phil. Where else are you training? What else are you learning? Well, we need to have a discussion before you come back to class. And I never went back to class. I was kicked out because my Chi Sau improved. So it blows me away how, as martial arts teachers, people are continuing to do that one thing. It's called guarding the rice bowl, right? So what should be happening is I should be making my students better than me so that they always chase me so that I always improve. It doesn't happen, especially in Chinese Kung Fu arts, especially in Wing Chun. We do not want our students to improve because then we lose what income as teachers. It just blows me away. So I've never thanked them, and I'll do it publicly, but it was this day specifically. This day, Sam Kwok did 2 adjustments. He had me move in closer, and he had me focus chin down and just focus right in. And I went, oh, and no more of this rolling, looking all over the place. It was beelined on the sternum. Everything changed. Everything changed. That put me on the path to meeting with Syed, and then Sifu Syed refined my game even more. But ask yourself, if you're not doing Chi Sau for combative sake, if you're doing it for the sake of just flopping your hands all around and learning to pick up incoming attacks that they're always going to be the same, then that's respectable. But you have to be a fighter. You have to be a fighter, right? That's the point of your Chi Sau and why it should be approved. So, Grandmaster Kwok, just want to publicly thank you. It was because of you that you really put my Wing Chun on the path where it became just where I love it today, and I never got a chance to thank you for it. So, thank you. And what started this video off today was Light Burley. And for those who do not know, Light Burley from 52 Blocks is my martial arts brother. He is a Sifu of mine, based on the fact that the man knows more about martial arts in totality, fighting, combatives, in both in the ring and as a coach. I cannot speak highly enough about the man, and I never will be able to hit that ceiling of advocating enough for like Burley. But he did this. He did this video on Chi Sau today, and my God, he's accurate. I've been saying this for decades, and Light goes ahead and films a 2-minute video and sums it up perfectly. Watch this and let's listen to what Light Burley has to say about Wing Chun Chi Sau. And Light Burley does 100% know Wing Chun. 100%'s got a great Chi Sau game as well too.
Combat. So, the Chi Sau game, I don't like to be tense. He has a very good feel to him. He's not one of these guys, because the tension takes away from the actual application of learning how to feel the attack.
Now, Burley, I thought that Chi Sau, where's all the trapping? I thought I was supposed to do a lot of, where's all that?
Where's the Bruce Lee at?
Where's that at?
Where is the, see, that looks good for camera, but what's this drill really going to bring? What's this drill going to bring us?
Pay attention to this part, because a lot of you guys too in JKD, I'm not picking on you, but you got Bruce Lee's limited knowledge of Chi Sau and what it was for. And that got broken down into a series of drills, not the free flow of Chi Sau. When you do Chi Sau with the intent of combative training, there is no 5 stages or 5 zones of a contact, you know, kicking range, punching range, trapping range, grappling range, whatever. There's only one, and it's contact range. That's it. I'm telling you from personal experience, the second you change your mindset on why you're training your Chi Sau, fighting completely changes, and you'll see why all of these horrible representatives of Wing Chun have gone into MMA or anything else, and then people said, oh, well, look at that. That's why you're Wing Chun. I didn't see any Wing Chun in there. We're never going to be able to change our minds. But all I want to do is I want to be able to change your mind to say, hey, why are you doing Wing Chun? Or do you have a bad taste of Wing Chun? Or what are you training Wing Chun for? Especially what your Chi Sau game is. But listen very closely to Light here.
We fight, and now we're on each other. This is where the Chi Sau drill, see, now we're swimming.
Yeah, knows we can sneak in. Headbutts, knees, all kind of good stuff.
See, this is where, once you engage, all of this sensitivity that we're trying to learn here at this speed, feel each other's attack, stop it. Ooh, transfers very well to when we're here. And this man, yeah, see, I had to feel that knee. I had to feel that knee was coming. That's what you did.
If you don't follow Wing Chun, or 52 Blocks, like Burley, it's 52 Blocks Info. Please do. He's one of the best people out there. But this is the point, and this is what we keep learning, or how we skip learning, right? So I want you to think about something for a second. If you go on your Wing Chun journey, stop chasing progression. Let it happen. Well, let it happen. What I mean by that is I've trained with a lot of JKD guys over the years, and not one of them can do Chi Sau. Not one of them. They don't have the roll down properly, you know, and then they think, well, we're going to get from point A to point B anyway, so let's get rid of the bong lop and let's do this more dynamically, or let's just flop our arms around. I've always wondered, I would never go to a boxing class, and if the instructor told me, all right, let's learn a 5-hit combo, right? And you gotta learn what a jab is. So let's first learn what a jab is, and then how to properly throw a body shot, right cross, or any punch out there, and your footwork. I would never go, well, instead of perfecting this drill, I'm just gonna jump into the next thing. Sadly, I don't mean to disrespect you guys, that's what most Jeet Kune Do people have done. And this is my final thought on Wing Chun Chi Sau. The JKD people have not spent enough time understanding the foundation of Chi Sau, and they just go, well, we're just going to progress and we're just going to turn it into this drill and whatever. And the Wing Chun people have not discovered the foundation of how Chi Sau applies to fighting, so they keep it at Chi Sau. Do you see the problem we're having here? It's all up to you from this point out. You have to understand, why are you doing Chi Sau? Where does your Wing Chun live in that progression? And what are you doing it for? So ultimately, if you want to stay as a Chi Sau player, get together in class, it's the same thing. No one says that if you go to a BJJ class that you ever have to fight. Roll. Have a great time with it. Nobody says that if you go to a boxing gym, you ever have to get in the ring. You could hit that bag all you want to. Do it. Keep doing it. Nobody says that if you learn Chi Sau, you ever have to go into a street fight. And I pray that you don't. But I'm going to ask you, if you're going to be doing Chi Sau, define why you're doing it. Stop giving Wing Chun such a bad name. Is it just for the sake of saying, hey, I want to show my friends how flashy my hands are if they touch me? Or is it like, man, I really want to understand how to fight through that tensed up aggression, I can't breathe, adrenaline dump, and how I'm going to wind up using position, body awareness, skill set, everything to wind up surviving this fight, right? Or if I want to go into MMA, this is what I'm learning from the Wing Chun Chi Sau game. Guys, there's so many great examples of Chi Sau out there. I really think you should check them out. There's a lot of piss poor examples out there as well too. But ultimately, you are the defining example of why you're doing it. Go into it, be honest with yourself, and then come out the other side a better Wing Chun representative in the long run, right? Guys, I hope this made sense to you guys. I hope you had fun with this. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you like our shirt line, just go click down in the description in the bottom and get a Wing Chun shirt. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.